Alright guys, we're here in the Unsealed garage and we're about to put a catch can into my HiLux, and I thought I'd just walk you through a few quick tips because this is only the second one I've ever done and I've learnt a few things from the first one. Now with these pre-formed hoses, I just thought it's a good idea just to sort of fit them up, see how they look. I haven't put the hose clamps on yet, but what I will do first is put this drain hose onto the bottom of the catch can, just because it's easier to do it now than to try to do it when it's in the car. So I'll show how that looks like in a second. There you go, just basically screwdriver to tighten up that clamp on the hose, and the feed here, sorry, shouldn't be the feed, or the dump point I suppose you'd call it, just a one-way valve on the end. Now there's a barb fitting that goes in here, slide that in, put the hose clamp in, then tighten these up. You don't want to leak in this joint here, and have this set to close. So now you can run this to the car, feed it down to a spot where you can easily access it, and this is how you drain the unit. So now we're going to go to the car and we're going to bolt on the mounting bracket. Now we're not doing anything flashy, we're just doing this at the car park at work just to show you can do this on a lunch break basically. Nice easy job. Well, here's the next step, this exciting bit. Now I've actually just loosely secured, so the bracket just bolts. There's two different sizing, there's a 10mm and a 12-13mm, and these bolt through the bracket. Sorry, the catch can then bolts to the bracket through the two supplied bolts there. Now always make sure you have your washer and the lock washer on first. So I've also run the outlet, the drain I suppose you'd call it. That's just going to come down the chassis rail. I'll probably trim this to suit. And there's the drain. And I'll probably try to lock off onto a factory bolt so it's nice and neat and out of the way. So that's it. The bracket there. Well, so far really easy. All just bolts straight up. Very straightforward. And now the fun part, connecting the hoses up. So make sure we do this right. We need to remove this hard line here, which you can't really see. So I'll pop that off now and show you what it looks like. Yeah, it's hard to see, the sun's shocking, but just cracked 12mm bolt here in the top of the engine, which holds this bracket on, which we don't need anymore. This is what we're tapping into. And it should just be a case of pulling it off. It's a prerequisite to make a funny face while you're doing this because he's a bit tight. Alrighty. There you go. So that's what needs to come off. Now there's another hose up there, but as you can see, we've got oil. Not what you want, that's why we're fitting one of these catch cans. So on to the next step. One thing I did miss, you need to pull off this intercooler cover. Now it's really easy, a couple of bolts, and then whip that off. Let's do that now. Everything's mocked up, it's time to take it all to pieces and put the hose clamps on, which are these really nice spring clamps, which always work well. So we've got the top port goes down into the turbo. Now with this kit, you don't need to keep the reducer. It replaces all the parts, so that hose fits on perfectly. The bottom, that goes into the engine. Nice and simple. So let's put these clamps on, neaten it up, and we're nearly there. Much easier with that cover off, so I recommend doing that for sure. Maybe even taking off the air filter housing lid. It's going good. Haven't even got my shirt dirty yet. It's white. How easy is that? Well, there you go, lights settled down a bit and we're all installed. So, catch can with hose clamps going along into the engine, and this one here goes down back into the turbo. There was a fair bit of oil we've thrown the parts away, but there's a fair bit of oil in there already, so this is definitely going to work. I'm very interested to check in and see how it goes through that drain tube, which I've just run down there. I've got to cut some cable ties. It looks pretty dodgy at the moment. I think I'm going to change how I do it and mount it off here and just hang it down a bit lower, but obviously with the exhaust there, we've got to keep that out of the way. So last job's just to neaten up these cable ties. That's the only part that I sort of had any creative input into, and I've done a pretty dodgy job, so I'm going to sort that out, redo that. But anyway, it shows you how easy it is to drain. Yeah, that's going to annoy me, so we'll redo that one. But otherwise, up top, such an easy install. Honestly, we're just out the front of work. I've done that in a lunch break, and like I said, wearing a white shirt, I'm not dirty. My hands are dirty. But that was honestly one of the easiest modifications I've ever made. Highly recommended.